Experienced.
Yeah, well.
Experienced, not an expert.
It's one of the same things. So,
So this is Andy Leonard with Data Driven TV, and with me is
Stu Ainsworth, how are you? So, it's good
doing
seeing
well.
you.
It's good seeing you too. So we're at the Atlanta Azure Data Fest, the inaugural Atlanta
The first ever. So,
Azure Data Fest. Yeah, and Stuart was organizing. He
Yes.
co-organizing, I guess.
yeah, did a lot of work with Brian Moran and Tim McAlaley, and he's probably going to kill me for mispronouncing his name, but it's been fun. We had a lot of great fun trying to pull this event together, and
Yeah.
we're excited about it. So it was a great couple of days, I think.
So did you sell out? I know you were close.
We did sell out.
Wow.
In fact, it was a little standing room only in some of the sessions. So
Saw that. Yeah.
So it's a great crowd. We had folks from the SQL community that I've known for years, and some folks doing some new things with Azure that it was my first time to meet them. So that's always a pleasure. And then we had some great support from Microsoft and lots of sponsors, lots of people stepped up to kind of help out with this. So
Very cool.
so.
Well, I was very honored that you picked me. I just finished my talk, and it's early yet, so you won't read any complaints about it for probably another 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll just wait till you feed in. You can just post it right there, and you can just watch the little scroll go by. So, I learned this maneuver from Patrick LeBlanc, by
Did
the
you?
way.
Patrick does that?
So he does that a lot.
Did I?
So, yes.
You say, how am I? Am I okay? Am I doing all right? Patrick's awesome. I got to catch his session yesterday.
Yes.
I think he did at least one. Did he do another one?
No, he just did the one, but it was fantastic.
It really was.
So
Yeah.
there's the beauty of this, and I think we've had this conversation, is that the technology is so new, it's so exciting, and there's so much potential here.
Yeah.
That what we get to see at Azure Data Fest are people experimenting and playing with ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And bringing some of that next generation idea stuff. It's the things that I want you to walk away with from this event is really that desire to innovate, to kind of push the boundaries, not just go back to your desk and fix the immediate problem. 'Cause
Right.
there's a need for that. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
and I hope that there were some sessions here that kind of fed that need a little bit. But the ones that I was most excited about are the things like where Patrick was doing the interesting things with the sentiment analysis and
Yes.
the video and the imagery and feeding it all up and coming out with Power BI. In fact, I think Ed Watson's got one going on right now where he's doing some stuff with Cortana and Power BI. So we also saw there was a really cool session on AI and cognitive services in actually reading brain waves and pumping it up to the cloud. So, I mean, it's really interesting stuff.
It is.
And if you think about what the potential is there, even if you're like, man, I'm not going to go wire myself up when I get back to my desk.
That would be dangerous to me or you.
Right. Oh,
to
yeah.
wire ourselves up. Yeah.
It's that, but it's coming. I mean,
Yeah.
the power of the cloud, the power of being able to tap into that scalable resource, even for just a few minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's game changing.
Well, we talked about this a little before. We had a conversation off camera.
We know each other.
We do. We hang out, but which is really good for me and not so for Stuart. But now there's evidence, so he can't deny it anymore. But we were talking about that, right? Especially the scale stuff.
Right.
So that's really it's a time compressor. It's you can and because you're paying for for units essentially, processing units, and they come up with their data BTUs and DPUs and all of that. Yeah, what can happen when you look at the economy of scale is it may cost you the same amount.
Right.
Right? It may cost you the same amount to process this amount of data to do whatever you're doing with it.
Right.
But it may take you 1,000th of the time.
and that is so valuable.
It
right?
is.
You may be, you instead of spending $300 for a day's worth of work, you're now spending $300 for 3 minutes. But then you've got the rest of the day to do what you need to do. So, So
we're sitting here talking, and look, a smart person walked up. So see you, Stu. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Stu's smart.
So
yeah, we
data-driven.
it's a data-driven thing, and this is Julie Smith. She was one of our guests on Data Driven. We're trying to get Stu on the show next. Talk about this.
Go.
Did a great job talking about so I'm not going to tell. What were you talking about?
I was talking about Azure Search.
Yes.
Okay. So indexers, I saw that.
Right.
And
so
suggesters.
Indexers, suggesters, analyzer,
Interesting.
index,
Cool.
scoring profiles.
Okay.
It's a web search in as a service.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty
I'm
cool
helping
stuff.
you. I was.
Oh, I'm
halfway
sorry. Am I
through.
moving to I'm not looking. That's
Andy's got experience, but not expertise.
I'm
He's
the
already
worst.
told me this.
The worst- That's right. That's it. But I saw pieces of your session. I didn't stay in for the whole time because I was also distracted trying to get my stuff to work.
Oh, it worked. It all worked.
I thought it did okay. Nobody ran out screaming or threw anything heavy. So
And
happy
just bringing
about
the
that.
good news that Azure Data Factory is got more stuff in it.
It
now.
does.
Like
It does SSIS now, which is
Yeah.
so cool. I was
integration runtime.
really cool stuff with that. But we've been talking about all of the. Everybody here is doing stuff on the edge,
Right.
People are picking up, like Patrick was doing the things with the image and sentiment analysis, and you're doing the thing with search and picking through, and that's an intelligent search.
Right.
It's really nice to see all that. So, what do you see coming? What's next, Julie? Nothing like being put on the spot, right?
Yeah.
So Stuart already covered brainwaves. The government's going to read your mind, Stuart,
Right,
which
yeah,
I suspect after they read your mind, they're going to stop.
It'll be done. It's
Still holding out. I'm gonna harken back to when I spoke with you, and I'm gonna say I'm still holding out for the Star Trek medical scanner.
Oh,
I
love
would,
that
I would
idea.
enjoy that a great deal. I don't know if it's
Definitely.
coming. Sure. Well, I mean, thermometers are pretty close. When you take your kid to the pediatrician.
You can do, and a friend of mine was telling me that you can do like blood sugar
Yes.
from the skin now, without.
Yes.
Well, even if you think about the fact that, I've got an Apple Watch, right? And I mean, the data that's being gathered from this go into your phone and then immediately being stored somewhere in the cloud. I mean, obviously you start running into things like personal privacy issues, but just the fact that you have the potential to get that data out that quickly
Yeah.
and into a source and then being able to interact with it and transform it and deal with it. I mean, that's just light years of where we were just even a few years ago. So.
Hey, it's Tim Radney.
Tim Radney. The Tim Radney.
All right.
So we were going to ask I was going to ask Tim some questions, but no, we got to go. No, I'm kidding. Tim, what did you present on?
Managed instance and Azure infrastructure as a service.
Cool. How'd it go?
Not too many people got up and left, so it couldn't have been too bad.
That's kind of my way of looking at it too. So there's Ree. Ree, you're hiding in the dark now because you're silhouetted. It's a Ree silhouette.
I'm backlit.
Yeah. And did Ree help organize too?
Ree is my go-to person.
Ree was strictly a volunteer. Don't let Stu tell you I did anything.
Oh, I don't
more
believe it for a
difficult than
minute.
that.
She's the bouncer.
Ree is my
I as it turns out, I'm the one who, when somebody else, they're trying to make a decision on something and they have an idea and they look at me and they go, do I want to do A or B? And then I go, well, and they go, A. And then I have no idea what it is about having to explain the problem to me that makes them able to make a decision, but
Very
It's
cool.
your facial expressions. When you're like, say one thing and you're like, and then you say something else. And
That's funny.
He's saying that.
That's
What are you
funny.
talking about?
no, that was on purpose. No. So,
So
yeah.
this is like all of the beautiful people in the Atlanta SQL community here, and then there's Jeff. I'm kidding. I know Jeff.
They
did a
only
lot.
put up with me because they actually have to have me to get into the building. That's why I'm here. I'm just the guy that carries the badge. That's
Jeff-
it. That's all my function is here.
So I met Jeff when he was doing it. I think you were in charge of the Atlanta SQL Saturdays for a while. I know it's moved around some.
I did the user group for a while,
Yeah.
and then I was at the Passport for a while, and then it was did a turn at SQL Saturday.
Yeah.
And tell you what, this year's SQL Saturday was one of the best I've gone to because it was the first time I've gone in years that I wasn't a speaker, a sponsor, or a presenter.
You're
I
just
just
hanging
showed up
out.
and attended, and it was it was a wonderful experience
That's
that way. Very
awesome.
liberating.
Very awesome. Well, Microsoft's obviously big on this. They hired a lot of people. They picked you up. Was it last year or earlier this year?
Back in March, actually, so
Back
it's
in
fairly
March.
recent. Yes.
Okay, cool. Things are growing. Events like this.
We're
are
also
growing.
we're hiring more people too.
Well, there's see a plug right there.
We've got
on
a
data
lot
driven
of
data.
cloud solution architect positions open. So
I can imagine, especially after seeing the interest here in this event.
I think we have over 200 positions open nationwide.
So, speaking of, I'm curious, how many people showed up here, Steve?
We had 162 registered, and
Yeah.
we ended up with about 154, 55, somewhere in there.
Not
So,
bad.
I was frankly shocked at the turnout. I mean, there is just a lot of interest in this, and we like I said, we hit capacity.
Yeah.
People in the halls. There's lots of great hallway conversations. We had tons of it was just fascinating to watch the interaction between Microsoft folks being on site and the sponsors being on site and people just having hallway conversations. I kept seeing people walk by on their phone going, "Hey, I just walked out of this session and I think we need to go do this."
Wow.
And that's thrilling, right?
Yeah.
And I think, we see that at the local events a lot with the local community events. It's just a little different this time around. I think part because the facility's a little different, and we're in a little tighter space, so it's nice to be right up there, with all the people and having people come by and say hi. And again, this was the first event, and I think it's new, and it was a very different crowd. Than
So
what
the
we
first
see
in
at
Atlanta.
Right.
So there are other
That's
Azure
true.
Data Fest, and I saw an ad for an AI Fest coming up as well. I think in Reston. Or Chevy
Reston.
Chase?
So like I said, Brian Moran and Tim McAlery, they're out of the Reston area, and they're really doing a lot with that user group and trying to push the envelope a little bit. And this was their baby, and it's really taken off. I mean, we had there was one in Philadelphia, the Malvern area. There was one in Boston, one in San Francisco.
Nice.
We've had some rudimentary conversations about doing it in other places. We're starting to do the second wave again. They're going to bring it back to Reston again and look at some other options. So,
well, very cool. Yeah. Well, I hope you stay engaged. I know you're a big community guy here in the Atlanta area. The whole team that we just talked to, everybody in that group has worked in leadership for leading community events, and just kudos to all of you.
Well, thank you, Andy. It's a pleasure. We enjoy it, and it's a great way to see people grow. And that's really what we're all interested in. So
very cool. Well, this has been fun. This is Andy, and I am signing off.